You're listening to podcast Scoutaholic, the very first podcast for young scouts in Vietnam, produced by Your Pathfinder Scouts Vietnam, where the young can listen to real and inspirational stories, sharing of speakers' experience, equip themselves with novel knowledge and skills, and at the same time learn from speakers' perspectives. The podcast is broadcast every 2 weeks on Saturday night. Stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast Scoutaholic from Pathfinder Scout Youth Folk 2021. I'm Mai, a Scout leader of Trung Girl Scout Unit, Kỳ Tân District in Da Nang, and currently I am a member of Pathfinder Scout Vietnam Youth Folk 2021. This is the first and the only one podcast that is presented in English. And welcome on the Scout worldwide to Scoutaholic, and I hope you will enjoy it with me. Xin chào các bạn đã quay trở lại với podcast Scoutaholic mê hướng đạo. Mình là Mai, hiện đang là thành viên của Youth Fox 2021 và đồng thời mình cũng là thiếu trưởng thiếu đoàn Trưng Vương, liên đoàn Kỳ Tân, Đảo An Hải, Đà Nẵng. Mình sẽ là host của tập podcast ngày hôm nay và đây là một tập với mình nó rất là đặc biệt bởi vì chúng ta sẽ được kết nối với những khách mời đến từ nước ngoài và sử dụng tiếng Anh 100%. Vừa rồi mình đã có một phần mở đầu bằng tiếng Anh để chào mừng tất cả các bạn bè quốc tế cùng đến với Scoutaholic. Hy vọng mọi người sẽ có những cái giây phút vui vẻ và bổ ích cùng với Scoutaholic nhé. Okay, so let's continue. In this hard time, it's so lucky that Scoutaholic can publish on the episode regularly. I also think this is an opportunity for us to go through the ocean to connect with the guests who are very far away from us. Today in our podcast, I'm really excited to introduce the special guest, and she's not Vietnamese. She will bring us a lot of story about her scouting journey, and I hope that this experience can bring us new perspective about scouting in other countries, especially that we can listen to her amazing journey as the messenger of peace to contribute to a better community in her city. Let's welcome our friend Maria Florencia from Scouts de Argentina. Maria is the scout leader in her unit and a part of the executive committee. Especially, currently she's also the Secretary of Stretching and Development of the Scout movement in Scouts de Argentina. Hello, Maria. Can you send your hello to on the audience who listen to our podcast now?
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Scouts from Vietnam, for inviting me, for having this guests from all around the world, kilometers and very, very far away. I'm really excited to be joining you and to talk with you a little bit. I hope you really enjoyed this podcast as much as I am enjoying it right now.
It's great to have you here today, Flor. I have a question that I never asked you before. Can you share a little bit about your feeling back then when you first receiving the messages from us? I'm quite curious.
I didn't know the job and the work that you guys did as young people in Vietnam. I'm talking about this force that you have created. So when you first invited me, I went first to your YouTube page, your Facebook page to see all of the podcasts that you made. I have to admit that I didn't understand the language that you were speaking, but as soon as I saw the graphics and the idea that you guys were thinking, I was really motivated to be a part of it. That's why I said yes. That's why we rehearsed. That's why I met you guys. And no, for real, I'm really, really excited. You can see my big smiley face from all over here. And I feel very close to you guys, not only to you, Tanmai, that you're speaking, but all of the team that is behind, and you guys are doing a great job. So I'm really, really excited.
Oh, I'm so happy that you also enjoy the podcast, enjoy the recording days today like me. As I know, you are the same age with me, and we are also the scout leader now. How many years have you been in Scouts de Argentina? And can you tell us a little bit about your scouting journey until now?
I have 8 years on the Scout movement. I just counted it with my hands without the camera seeing me, but I just had to count it just to make sure that it's been a long time, but so fast at the same time. I don't know if that happens to you or the audience that is listening. When you count the amount of years, you're like, wow, crazy. So I've been since 2013. I entered the venturers, it would be, and then I became a rover, and right now I'm a scout leader for the venturers, that are the young people from 14 to 17 years old in Argentina in my scout group. And at the national level, I give support, and I'm part of different teams and committees that we have in Scouts de Argentina. So that is a cool thing to do over the days and the daily routine that we have as student. I kind of mix up the scout world in between free time.
Oh, wow. Like I find out that we had a lot in common. Like I'm also joined Scout in 2013. Yeah, but I didn't take any JD, any role in the national level before. Can you explain a little bit more about that, about your role when you're working or like contributing for the national level currently?
Yes, of course. So in 2018, I was the first young member in the administrative and finances and management direction of Scouts de Argentina. Especially, well, you know this, a lot of money things and management issues or problems or solutions even in national scout organizations are thought to be for adults and not for young people. And I was the first member, female member and young member of the of that team back in 2018. I was 20 years old. So that was a good challenge for me and for the NSO as well, having the first member. And then I go through there giving support to different areas. So I've been in our youth direction, in the social education direction of Scouts de Argentina. I've also been in project management direction on the Better World framework that we have since, I don't know, but we have the Better World framework well established here. And then I've been a Messengers of Peace coordinator. Then I've been the World Scout Environment Program national coordinator as well. And right now and currently I'm doing and thinking a lot of things in terms of leadership, young and youth leadership in Scouts de Argentina. And I am part of the International Commission. And the strongest thing that I'm doing right now is part of the Secretary of the Strengthening and Developing of the Scout Movement, that I'm going to share that after a little bit, but just to introduce you, we are currently very involved with community involvement of the Scouts, and we're taking the Scout movement to very vulnerable areas of Scouts de Argentina. So we try to strengthen Scout groups located in those contexts that are very hard to work with, because they're very, very vulnerable neighborhood and context. And we try to strengthen those places and to develop them better and to make them grow.
Wow, your journey is really amazing, Flor. I can feel your enthusiasm and the energy when you're talking about what you have done in the past. And you're really amazing. The first young person who working for the executive committee of Scouts de Argentina, and you also contribute to your NSO as with another role as the project director of some program in the Better World framework, especially the national coordinator of Messenger of Peace. And as I know about the Messenger of Peace in the WOSM guideline, this program encouraged the Scout worldwide to take action for their community for peace and sustainable development. So I'm quite curious about your experience as the national coordinator of the Messenger of Peace and also your personal experience to running some project to contribute for a better society in your local city. Can you share a little bit about your experience, about your journey as the Messenger of Peace?
Let's go deep into today's topic for everyone in the audience listening to this.
Yeah,
I hope if it's new to everyone, to anyone listening to Messengers of Peace, or someone sounds that the word Messengers of Peace sounds familiar, let me tell you that it is a great initiative, and it's a really good thing to think about, the topic of peace and how can Scouts contribute in terms of peaceful activities and actions and projects that kind of mainstream peace and a culture of peace through Scout activities. So to anyone listening, if some words sound too hard or too weird, just know that in very simple actions, you are becoming a Messengers of Peace, even if you're not knowing what a Messengers of Peace is. So that's the first thing I wanted to say in terms of MOP. Maybe you hear me say MOP is just the abbreviation of Messengers of Peace. So I don't get you bored with the word Messengers of Peace, Messengers of Peace. So Messengers of Peace, like you said, Tanmay, you said it perfectly. It's an initiative that invites Scouts to work and to take action for a better world. And some of the audience may be thinking, okay, but what is peace? Isn't everything peace, or sharing peace to the culture, to the society? And the answer is that yes, everything that we do in the Scouts that are aligned with our Scout law, with our Scout promise, with our Scouting mission, vision, and values is working with peace. So anything you do in between your Scout activities and outside your Scout activities that have the Scouting values in it means that you are working towards Messengers of Peace. So that's a good thing to start off, because it's a broad thing that we can do. From my side, in my experience, I have a weird experience with Messengers of Peace because it was back in 2016. I knew what Messengers of Peace was. I had heard of the words before, but I had no idea how it worked in my country or at the world level. I had no idea. And I had the chance to go to the Inter-American Leadership Training in Guatemala, a country that we have in Central America. So it is a training organized by the Inter-American region, where 2 participants of each country, each national Scout organization go. And there, at the last day, we were surprised with the Messengers of Peace award, like a badge and a neckerchief. And we were all surprised because we knew what Messengers of Peace was, but we didn't know that we were going to be recognized as that in that event, in that 7-day event. And the answer when we asked, why are we getting this? It's because that training, the leadership training, is part of a Messengers of Peace project, big project that is thought to be in 10 years. So the Inter-American Leadership Training is a 10-year project that organizes once a year a training for young people in our region and other regions as well. We have guests from Spain, from Hong Kong, from some countries in Africa. I think we've had guests from all of the other regions of WOSM to talk about peace. To talk about peace and leadership. And after we learn about peace and leadership, we take that back to our countries, to our communities, to our local groups. And that's where we are becoming Scout Messengers of Peace. So in my experience, after 2016, in 2017, we worked with my international team a little bit on children's rights. And the project kind of, because of university and different personal things of each of the members of the team, kind of didn't go further anymore. But on 2018, with a very close friend of mine, Maru, I sent her a big kiss. We worked with a mini training, a local training with leadership things to our local community and to our local scout group. That project was called in Spanish Lidera un mundo mejor. In English, that would be Lead a Better World. And that had good results. It was like a 9-month project, and that had very, very good results. And since that time, since those projects, I have done a lot of projects in Messengers of Peace. I have also given support to a lot of young people that don't even know where to begin in Messengers of Peace initiatives here in Argentina, and to some other countries in America also, in our region. So it's kind of been a long journey for me in Messengers of Peace, but I still know that everything I keep on doing, and I will talk about this further on the podcast, is about Messengers of Peace. So it's been a long journey, but I think all of us here, you, Tanmai, me, the technical team behind this, and all of the audience and Scouts from Vietnam, this is a huge invitation for you to work in your community.
Wow, so like really amazing, you know. Before, when I first listened about the word messenger of peace, is in 2020. This is the first time that I hear about that word. Yeah, and at that time, to me, something called messenger of peace is something kind of not familiar, and I have a thing in my mind, like it's really hard to become the messenger of peace, or like I don't know how to do anything to contribute for something called peace, because currently maybe we are not in war, but in my definition, I think peace is not something called war, like not war. In peace, maybe some like we just make the world become the better place, and we don't have conflict, like less poor person in the society, or like something like that. Actually, I know about that, and I think about that too, but I'm not taking any action because I just think that it's really hard to do something, or it's really actually I don't know what to do at that time, you know. But through your story, I think it's not really something like it's important, but it's not really big things, like you starting by with the leadership training, and then you train back to your scout in your units in your region, and like you, they will become a leader, they will become a messenger of peace in the future. And currently you engage in the project called the community involvement center, right? And do some project for the society currently with Scouts de Argentina. It's so nice to hear about that. I know like we should do something for the society. Yeah, but why you decide to do that project in the past, and also why you decide to engage with the community involvement center currently? What is your motivation to keep moving on and keep contribute for the society?
Okay, first, before I answer that particularly, let me go back to a thing you just said, Tanmai, that I find very important to remark on your words. I think they were very accurate. I believe that a lot of people, and maybe some young person behind this podcast and listening to this podcast on your train or in your bus, while you're cooking, while you're with friends that you get together to listen to this Youth Force podcast, you may be thinking the same thing that you're thinking, Tanmai, in 2020, and the same thing that I thought back in 2016. What is peace? If we are not going over a war, if we're not going any conflict or violent conflict, why do we need peace? Or what is peace? Or what is this initiative inviting us? Or what should we do? Where do I start? So all of those questions are very valid, and I understand anyone thinking in those questions. Really, you can feel all my comprehension from all over here in Argentina. because I had those questions too, and I still have them a lot of times. So I think the answers that I find with my friends, with my family, with my community, with my National Scout organizations, those mini answers and mini solutions that I'm finding constantly are my motivation. And that is the answer that I'm giving you. Those are my motivations and what inspires me to do this project. Funny thing on messengers of peace that I think we'll go over the next question, Tanmai. I'll just I'll just make a little spoiler right now, is that messengers of peace is also about inspiring other people into doing things. So currently, right now, Tanmai, me and all the youth force team is being a messengers of peace because you are inspiring people to take action in the community, in your local community, in Vietnam, in your city, in your neighborhood. We are being messengers of peace right now because we are inspiring other people to become. So another part of my motivation and inspiration are other messengers of peace. Other people that I get to know over these years, other people that I haven't met face to face, but I still have met them over an Instagram live, a podcast, a Facebook live, and I've seen them doing great jobs in Colombia, Jamaica, Guatemala, Ecuador, Colombia, United States, Canada, just everywhere I have a friend that is doing great things, they are inspiring me, and that is a big motivation and inspiration to keep on going with this initiative. You just named about the Community Involvement Center, and I can do a little summary on that because I can talk hours and hours about our centers. But recently, Scouts de Argentina has, like I said before, we're trying to strengthen places that we have, creating new places for the Scout movement, because as you guys may know, in Vietnam happens too. Scout groups and the Scout movement is sometimes the only opportunity that children have to have a safe place, to have a safe context to develop themselves with a group, with a team, and individually having a team leader or having a Scout leader going side by side in every step of your life and crazy life that a children or a young person can have. So we're taking the Scout movement to new places, to places where we have been present. The Scout movement has been for many years, but we have to strengthen those places. So we thought about this community involvement centers that are Scout centers, where are a physical space. Right now, for any in the audience, think about a big house that you can think of. There aren't even big, so it's just like a common house with 4 or 5 bedrooms. And in the bedrooms, I'm counting the kitchen, the bathrooms. Just don't think of a mansion or anything. There are physical spaces where we have activities with the community, not for the community, with the community. And we're giving school support, free legal assistance, a playroom for children to play. We give workshops on carpentry, cooking, we teach the I never know how to say this word in English, I'm sorry. The elderly people, like grandpas and grandmas, in giving them tools on how to use the computer, a cell phone, Zoom, Meet, WhatsApp, Facebook, any social media. We also work with health and well-being of the people there. We work with cultural activities, social activities, innovation activities, some other activities that ignite the inspiration of kids and the creative side of kids. And in this community involvement centers, really my motivation every single day is the answer I get from the neighbors and participants of these activities, also from volunteers that are so engaged with the project.
Like when I have the time to talk with you, I can feel really clearly that you're so proud about the community involvement center. Every time you're talking about the center, your like your eyes quite blinking, and you're so proud about that. The things that you guys doing, maybe like when we hear, we can see that a lot of activities, a lot of activity that you guys do for the society, but actually some action there is quite simple, like helping the elder people to using their smartphone or using some new apps to connect with the world. Oh, it's like it's really simple, but not every one of us can think and can starting to do.
Yes,
like
everyone, Tamai. Everyone. Now, every single one of you.
yeah, I feel so inspiring right now about what you hear, about what you say. It's simple, and it can start by anyone. But I like, because we also say that a project of the messenger piece, and maybe like we have some guideline from the World Scout to guide us to do the project. So maybe can you share a little bit for people who listen to the podcast to be more clear about how we can run a project of about messenger piece? What is the step by step that we need to do? Yeah, maybe we have the guideline about that, right? So can you share a little bit about how you guys customize the guideline into your countries?
So to give context to anyone listening to this amazing podcast, so you all know that UN Scouts de Vietnam, sorry, I'm saying that in Spanish. As from Scouts de Argentina, we are all part of the World Organization of the Scout Movement, WOSM, we call it for short. And WOSM has a lot of initiatives to inspire people and to also award people who are doing great things on the world, all over the world. One of these initiatives is Messengers of Peace, that you can find a lot more information in scout.org/messengers with double S of peace. So it's scout.org/messengers of peace, messengers with 2 S. When you go over there, you will see a lot of documents that you will be able to find, and those, remember, that are the world documents. Each NSO has the ability to implement those guidelines into the national reality of the youth program, the youth networks that you have, the youth reality that each one of our countries has. So maybe now I want to talk about the world guidelines, and then I'll tell you how we have done it in Scouts de Argentina. Here, if you see me reading, it's just to tell you the exactly terms that the guidelines of WOSM has. And we have kind of a 4 steps cycle to become a Messengers of Peace. Oh. But we have maybe 2 starting points, differently starting points. The first starting point, maybe right now, you guys that are being inspired. So right now we are inspiring you, and you think of a project to become a Messengers of Peace because you are being inspired by someone else. So the first step in that case would be inspire, and then you're being inspired. Then you learn and decide about what you want to do. In this step, you identify your motivation and talents, you choose a field of action, then you select useful knowledge, skills, and ideas to apply. Let me make a pause on this step, because I think, well, all of these steps are very important, but this is a first or a second step in becoming a Messengers of Peace. And if you do this, you are already doing a 50% of what you have to do. So anyone listening to this over your bus, your train, on the streets, with a friend on a restaurant or anything, just right now while you're listening to this, put your eyes up and look at your surroundings and your context if you find anything that is not okay, or anything that you can solve, or anything that you do not like. Just think on anything that you can do to make that better. So you opening your eyes and you looking at your surroundings, to your friends next to you, to your, I don't know, to anyone sitting over you on the train, you looking over the, I don't know, the windows of your bus and seeing dirty streets, you seeing people that are not eating, you seeing young people that are not going to school, you seeing young women that their rights are not being respected. Those are problems that you can now see, that you can now detect, and that is the field that you will choose. That field and that problem has to make someone inside of you touch and be moved. Because if you're not moved by that problem, probably you won't do anything with it. So you have to find someone that moves you inside of it, that you want to change. And a person doesn't have to be touched or moved by every single problem of the world, because that would make us every single time anxious or having a lot of problems inside of us. So there are some problems that are more important for some other people, some problems that are more important to me, rather to Tan Mai. There are some problems in Argentina different to the ones in Vietnam. And us having different problems and us having different visions on those problems and solutions is what creating a better world is, because you are creating a better world with your problems. I am creating a better world, giving solutions on my problems as well. So this first step on learning undecided is choosing that field of action, selecting the knowledge that you have, the skills and the ideas that you have, and also inviting new friends that maybe have some other knowledge and some other skills. You invite them into working with you. Then the first step is doing. This is another very important part, where you plan your actions, you execute them, you monitor them, you evaluate them, and then you report them. These words may sound very hard, but in simple terms, it's doing. You go out to the streets, you work with the community, and you solve those problems. And then the fourth and last step is sharing, because you need to inspire other people into doing so. And the way to do that is sharing. Maybe you post it on your social media, maybe you make a podcast on your project, maybe you get invited to Youth Force into making a podcast on sharing and inspiring some other people. Maybe you tell your friends, maybe you tell your family, maybe you tell the whole team of Youth Force what you have done. Maybe you appear on newsletter and social media of your government in Vietnam. I don't know. Anything is possible. So you share everything, and then the circle comes back again because you inspire some other people. So all of that information that I have just said, you can find it in WOSM's official page. That is scout.org/messengers of peace. Don't go there yet. Just finish listening to the podcast, and after you can go back to that page. In talking about Argentina, we took those guidelines, we implement them exactly the same way, but we have a culture here that says anyone, literally anyone, can be a messengers of peace. So being a messengers of peace is not something that only a few people can achieve, or only rich people can achieve, or only people that do the biggest project on earth. Anyone can be a messengers of peace, for real, anyone. You, me, we, you, they, I, every single person that you can think of can become a messengers of peace.
Yeah, I'm totally agree with you. The first step is the more important step. We recognize the problem. Maybe we can look around us. For example, our city, we can see that the street are not clean, or we throw the trash into the ocean or into the river. Many animals, many species in the nature area are not protected. We can see it, we can recognize the problem, but actually just small number of people who are there to take action, who are there to do something to make it better. And the key is in the action of us. If we do nothing, which means we achieve no result, and which means the problem is still there. All right, and back to your project a little bit.
Maybe I think you also start with some small steps. And along the way, when you start to develop your project, when you start to involve more people, when you start to support more people in the society, the project may need more resources or support or volunteers. Um, I wonder where did you get the support from, and how they support you to run the project bigger and to involve with more people in the society to support them.
It's a very good thing that you're saying, because until now in this podcast, we have been talking about a single person, like an individual, me, Flor, you, Tanmai, you that are listening to this. But the truth is that almost all of this, I want to say 100% that the things we do are in teams, especially in the Scouts. So everything is in a team. So even me, I have given support to some other areas of the community involvement centers, and people that I give support to, they give me support on other topics. Because why? Because we know our knowledges, we know our skills, and we know what we can contribute with the other person. And because we have different skills, is that I can give support to some others, and those others, because they know different things than me and they're better at doing some other things than me, they can give me support. In our personal case, we are a very big team, a national team of community involvement centers, that we have different professions, we have different backgrounds, we have different studies, we have different interests, we have different ideas, and all of those ideas come into a single team that we can put everything there on that team, and then we kind of sort out different things to do and different actions and different ways to go, because we have a lot of different activities and a lot of different backgrounds to choose from, or even to merge ideas into one another. In my personal case, I have a lot of support from Diana Nail, that she is currently part of the World Scout Committee. She's a World Scout Committee member, recently chosen and elected in the last World Scout Conference. We're very happy that she's there, and she's an excellent person, and she has given me so much knowledge and support and mentoring and everything, in not only in the community involvement centers, but my personal life as well inside the Scout movement. And I'm really grateful to her. I send her also a big kiss. I think she's also part of this big structure that gives support here. But remember, everything is in teams, so you will be giving support, like you said, from the youth force team, from your scout leader, from your scout master, anyone.
When we do it alone, we just can do individual things like this. But when we in a team, we do the teamwork. We can do something like 1 + 1 can be more than 2,
Yes.
So we can create more value. We can create like more contribution and better value for the society. It's so nice to hear about the power of collaboration with other people. And like in my unit, when we do any project, even for my Scout or even for the society, we also like call for support from people around us, or call for support from the people in the society too. Someone who willing to give something for other people. And I think it's really a good point to mention, to think of when we start to have an idea to do something.
Yes, and let me add one more thing, Tanmay, on this point.
Okay.
Another good thing to know and to be aware of is that Scouts can't do it alone. This sounds harsh, I know, but Scouts can't do it alone, and we sometimes most of the time we need the help from others. Whom? From government, from other institutions, from the private sector, the private companies, from schools, from other non-governmental organization, other NGOs. So partnerships in between different institutions, it's what this like where you can get all the juice from, because you get like the best from different worlds of different institutions of different ideas, and that is a good thing to do, to get partnerships and collaborations with other people that are not inside the Scout movement.
Besides Scout, we also have some other organization who have the same mission or have the same thinking, same vision to do something for the community like us. We're talking a lot about how we do the project, where to get the idea from, what inspired you to do any project. But one more thing that I think before, when I first hear about messenger peace, I think that maybe someone who young, like elder than me, or like they have something in life, they can do this, but not me, someone who are just in the university, not graduation, don't get any job right now, can do something for the society. In your perspective, with the capacity of the young people like us, what is the thing that you think that what can we do for the society, like with the capacity with young people like us,
Yes. So I hope to inspire someone over this answer, but truly I believe, and I hope you can sense that from my voice and my face expressions, for real, I am convinced that we have so much power and energy that sometimes where you are an adult, you don't get to have, because sometimes when you're an adult, you're tired of some repetitive things that you have had over your experience. But we as young people, we don't have that. We are not tired of things. We have a lot of patience. We are very perseverant people. We have a lot of perseverance over things. We are very resilient as young people. We are very resilient, and everyone knows that. And we have a saying here in Scouts de Argentina, and I am very convinced of this, and I hope someone can feel these words from my side, is that sometimes we as young people, we are told that we are the person or the people of the future, that we have to be better because we are the politicians of the future, that because we are the CEOs of the future, because we are the owners of the shops of the future. But the thing is, and I am truly convinced of this, is that we are leaders of the present, because we are right now and we're doing things right now. So we don't have to think in terms of the future. We are the leaders of the present, for real. And I think that is the capacity that we have. All of the things that makes us unique as a young person, as an individual, as Flor, as Sanmai, as anyone listening to this, all of our skills and attributions and values that we have are what makes us individually perfect. And imagine if you are individually perfect as yourself, imagine that with a team. So you get to have a team of young people, a perfect team with, of course, sometimes you have your arguments, you have things that you do not agree with. But you also have things that you agree with and some things in common that you get motivated and you get inspiration from that team. So I think becoming the leaders of the present is what is our capacity. And also, don't get me wrong, we need to work also with adults, because like you said, Tanmai, adults also give us support and also have great ideas to work with, because sometimes they are more experienced over some things and they have some more knowledge over some other things. But working in intergenerational groups, it's, I think, the key here and the value of all of this work.
Wow, really positive and really think on the other side of me, real you think about the side, the perspective that really positive. And you mentioned about, actually, yes, we are young and we don't have some responsibility like some people who are older than us. And yeah,
for sure it's a strength. It's a strength of us, and it's better to utilize the strength than focus on the weakness about we don't have anything. I think when running the project or doing something, there are about to be many obstacles. Yeah, like many challenges that we can face in the way. So, as the messenger of peace, what's your perspective about the challenge that people who running something like running a project about messenger of peace can face? And in your experience, how to overcome this challenge in reality?
Yes, and not only in Messengers of Peace project, but in every step of our lives, we may have some obstacles. Sometimes they're harder, sometimes they're little obstacles, but obstacles at the end. I think the best way to solve them is with a team, problem solving with a team, problem solving without violence. That is very good. Problem solving with dialogue, and that has worked very good for me. Solving things, just talking about it and not putting the problems behind our backs or just accumulating things. Just talking that when it's necessary and with your team.
Yeah, I'm totally agree with you. When we're working in a team, we working in a project, we absolutely get some problem related to the team, related to the teamwork. And you know, like you, I also choosing dialogue or conversation to understand each other as the way to solving the team problem. Because if we just let the problem there, hide away from that, and don't choosing the way to solving the problem is still there, and it will affect negatively on the project and on the stakeholder that we involve in that project, and it's not good for everyone. So solving is a good way. But actually, you know, as our young age, I think when we get a lot of challenge outside, we get the challenge in the project or challenge to working together or with the stakeholder that we involve there. I think the support from people around us is really important for to support us not only in running the project but also in mentally support. So, in your experience, how do young people get the support from the NSO or their parents? And how about you in your how to get the support from your NSO and your parents? Can you share a little bit about this?
I think it's just from the little things up until the big things that you can get support with. For example, me after this meeting, I can hear my sister making lunch because it's lunchtime here. I can listen to her making yummy things, and I think that is, for me, it's in the little things that you can find that at least I find the most support ever. Or me coming home from a hard day at the community involvement center. Maybe I had some problem or issue there, and I find something sweet that my sister made or baked, a yummy meal from my mom. Over these things, you can understand that I like to eat yummy things a lot of the times, but I want you to get me that. And these little things that you can get a lot of support, love, and contention from. And from your NSO, I just think having a strong NSO that believes in young people, and not the NSO as an institution itself, as a big institution, but all of the scout leaders that are part of Scouts of Vietnam are also part of the NSO. And you having at least one adult leader that says, okay, I hear you, I will go with you, I will try to help you, I will give you support in anything you need. I think that is very valuable. So in the little things that are not little things anymore, like having someone that says, I believe in you, let's go, or someone that says, I made you this cake, I think it's where you find really valuable things in doing your project.
A lot of things, a long journey we had to go through, and a lot of story you have told us, but we didn't mention about
what you learn along the way, or what is the lesson that you gain from that experience, And I really think that when we in hardship, we can be taught a lot of lesson. So after running some project, or after doing something, doing some project for society, what have you learned so far? Yeah, and can you share with us some of them?
Yes, of course. I have shared so much already. That lessons are one of the biggest things I have to share over again. So in any life experience that we get in the Scout movement, outside the Scout movement, we every single time we have something to learn and to take from and to make better every time that we do it. I think from my side, my lessons are still believe in young people, still believe in the power of leadership, and still believe in the power of teamwork. Sometimes we have some problems and some issues that we're like, oh no, I don't want to work with my team anymore. They don't want to do things the way I do it. And those experiences only tell us that, yes, you still have to work with the team because it's better to do it alone. And yes, you will go through these obstacles that we were saying some minutes before. And it's very valuable that you learn your lesson on teamwork, on leadership, on the strength that we as young people have.
Currently, I'm working with the local unit and also working in youth folks. I also learned that lesson. Sometimes working in a team is never easy, and sometimes I just think that, can I do it alone? Can I just do it by myself? And
Yeah.
But yeah, we always need to learn how to work with people. And yeah, when we can work with people well, for sure we can, as we said before, we can create more values. Something it's not just only hardship or only like some lesson we learn from what we going through the challenges. We also have some proud moment, some like happiest moment, right? When, as I did before in my local unit, I also have some I really remember the time that we back together doing something for society, or like doing something, get donation and donate for the charity, something like that. And when I see the picture, I really miss the moment. I really miss the moment that people smiling, receiving something. But how about you? What's the happiest moment, the most proud moment of yourself?
I think I have some. I don't have only one. I have some that I can think now. One of them would be me going back to the Inter-American Leadership Training and having a group of people that believed in me, that believed on my skills, that believed on my ideas, and me going back. I just remember being really happy going over that plane to Ecuador when I went back in 2017 and 2018 to it. In community involvement centers, every single day I'm really happy, for real. Every single day that I go there, I am very happy to see children, to see adults, to see young people volunteering, to see children enjoying those times and things they're learning. For real, I think that the biggest gratitude that you can get is the gratitude and the words from the community that say thank you, or that say this is very valuable and significant to me. Thank you for doing it.
Really come to an end, but I don't want to. But this is our, like, maybe my last question for you, because you had shared a lot, and I think that you really love the messenger of peace program. You really love doing something for society, So if you could send a message to the Scout in Vietnam in terms of spreading the spirit of messenger of peace, what would you say? What do you want to say to us?
Okay, just listen to the podcast all over again. No, I'm just kidding. My final words and conclusion, if I want to inspire you, would be to make the exercise that we made some minutes ago again. put your eyes up, and every sense that you have, your touch, your ears, your taste, your smell, just put all of your senses very active and just look around, smell around, hear around, touch around problems that you around Vietnam, you around your local community are having, and try to find a solution for it, because you will be changing the world in your project, in your action, in your service to the community. It doesn't have to be the biggest project that you can think of. It doesn't have to be the project with more steps. It doesn't have to be the project with more, and let me say more in quoting it. It doesn't have to be the project with more impact or social impact on it. Believe me, any little thing or big thing that you do is very valuable and significant to the community. And working with the community, for the community, will be very, very, very important to Vietnam, to the times that you're going through, to the hard times that people are passing by. So I strongly encourage you to look around, hear around, taste around, touch around problems, things that you don't like, things that you want to make better, things that you want to help, things that you want to achieve with the community. Do it. Find a group of people, find a group of friends, find your family, find your scout leader, and do it, because it will be a great thing that you're doing for the world. You will make Baden Powell very proud. Wherever he is, you will make him very proud, and you will be taking your scout values and the scout movement. You will make them very, very, very proud.
Wow, I really appreciate all the messages that you have brought to us. Messenger piece is not a new word for the Scout worldwide, but it's a brand new activity for the Scout in Vietnam. We may think that running a social project costs a lot of effort and resources. However, in our today podcast, we would love to bring a new perspective of running a social project, of contributing for the local community. We strongly believe that every one of us can be the messenger of peace by just taking the small action to create a better society right now. Someone has said to me a sentence that I feel it perfectly relevant now. If not you, then who? And if not now, then when? Thank you, Flor, for joining us today and tell us on your amazing and inspiring story on the journey to be the messenger of peace. Thank you so much. And that's all for the today episode of Scoutaholic. Thank you so much for listening to us, and make sure that you subscribe to our podcast on YouTube and Spotify so you never miss any episode. We would love to receive the comment to improve our podcast better in the future. Thank you so much. Stay safe and see you again. Goodbye.